should've known that it was temporary. I put that on my life before I die, that I'ma have a beat. Ain't no plan that you can stop when God the one that take the lead.
We back today on another high-level conversation between Ian, founder and CEO of Communication Storm, and myself, Corey Phillips, founder of Social Storm. And we're going to have another high-level conversation today out on this beautiful lakefront in Chicago, the best city in the country, best skyline, we already know. And we just talk about a lot of subjects, very powerful information. And we always start off these podcasts with some positive affirmations. And that is, I am wealthy, I am legendary, I am free. We're going to say it every single time. We're going to get straight to it.
All right, come on.
We're going to get straight to it. So ultimately, we all have something that we want to go after each and every day. And this time of summer, we wanted to make sure that you all have extreme focus on whatever you're trying to achieve. We have all the energy you see on social media, all the people that doubted you in your life, but there's all this noise, all this information in life. And with media, social media, news, people, opinions, but at the end of the day, what truly matters is that you cut out all that noise and focus on that end goal towards things that help you achieve your goal, whatever that is in your life.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the question for today, man?
What would you say is something that we as a community need to do better in order for us to reach our goals?
So in regards to goals, like what's the goals that you feel is important for the community?
I feel like in today's age, we need to be able to do better economically within the community as far as recirculating the black dollar within the community, being able to start our own investment funds, in order to invest in real estate, home ownership, being able to build sustainable business and have them grow and continue to collaborate within the community, because ultimately I feel like there's a lot of people within the community that don't collaborate. They kind of go their separate ways once they become successful. And we have enough people that do that, but we need enough people to come together so that we can collaborate or compete, because that's ultimately what you see within other communities is why they're successful. But within the black community, we need to do a better job at putting pride and ego aside to do things together, I feel like.
Okay. So yeah, with the goal being including each other in, positive environments so that we can grow together as a community, circling the black dollar. I feel like the best way to do that is by having networking events. That should be that's our goal, and we should have more networking events so that, more African Americans can stay within, each other's network and get to know each other. And not only that, but once you make that initial contact with that individual, you have to build a relationship. And I feel like that's something that's important, because you can know Ross Mack, you can know EYO, you can know Corey Phillips, you can know me. We have a lot of information, a lot of value, but it's like if you don't hit me up another time, it's like what value can I actually provide to you rather than a number, which means nothing. So just really as a black community, just stand in contact with those people who have value, who have power, so that they can add their value onto you so you can become something in your life.
Right, that's facts, because ultimately there's not because of a lack of information, because there's plenty of information. There's actually an influx of information that we actually don't need, and it's just up to us, especially this time with social media where you can search anything up on ChatGPT, AI, your computer, your smartphone has all the information you need. But it's up to you to be able to decide what is what you want and what isn't what you want, and cut all those things out that distract you and those things that don't really matter, because there's a lot of misinformation out there on things, certain narratives, but people don't really see the light. And that's what more people need to see in order for them to just go into those pillars within the community. Like we have nonprofits, we have community leaders, we have politicians,
Exactly.
But we have all these organizations doing the same thing, but they're not working together. They're working separate. But if you have more people that, let's say, put pride and ego aside, let's do something for the greater good of the community, not just for money, because your main purpose can't be money if you want to be successful long term.
And making an impact within the community, it has to be more so towards the growth of community, of people, of leaders.
Right, because that's ultimately, you see people with a lot of money, that they get all that money and fame or whatever that is, and they still feel sad. They still don't feel like some sort of fulfillment.
So what's the reason for that?
Because a lot of people don't have some type of purpose, or they don't have they don't know themselves as people. And if you don't know yourself, how are you going to be able to give that to other people? That's like, you must know what your morals, your values, what something that you're trying to accomplish greater than money, whether that's economic growth within the community, or being environmentally safe, or protecting animals, or whatever your passion might be.
Okay, I got something. So oftentimes when it came to me as an individual, I've been asked, what's the difference between a value and a habit? And when I had to speak on my values, oftentimes I named habits. Mm-hmm. I named, traits of a person that would have those values. So for me, my value now that I've, thought to myself, it'll be God, it'd be family, it'd be relationships, and it'd be integrity. And doing so, my habits build on top of my values, and it's based on my values. Oftentimes, if you don't have values, but you have, purpose and habits, they're just aimlessly, like you're aimlessly just having them, but you don't have any reason to build on top of your values. So that's something that I feel like is important. Again, I said God, integrity, family, and relationships. What do you think your values are?
Definitely for me, I definitely say it's definitely family, relationships, and I feel like community, and also, just being able to be very community oriented about family, because at the end of the day, those are the people that supported me from where I am. I didn't become successful by myself. There were different mentors, people that were mentors, people that helped give me opportunity, that basically brought me in as if I was their own son or their own brother or their own cousin. And that's what helped me push that drive. And that's what I want to be able to give to other people. I'm not just in it just for money, because I'd rather do some things for free just because of the value and being able to give the impact to other people, because it doesn't matter how much information I have if I'm not able to give it to someone else. And that's where the people that are most successful, or just different definitions of success, but in my opinion, people that are most successful are the people that are able to have the freedom within themselves, but also give the freedom to other people through not just money, but mindset. Because that's something you can pass down to multi-generation, because it doesn't matter how much money you make if you can't keep it, or you can't share it down to the next generation.
And you must have an understanding before you can understand other people. And somebody said that to me, and I was like, oh, understanding meaning you must know your own person, your own values, your own reasons for doing what you got to do. And in doing so, once you have your person, your own self set up, then you can add value to other people. And it starts with, every morning, what are you doing when you wake up in the morning? Are you getting on your phone and watching through other people's lives, or are you getting up and getting in the sunshine, jogging, doing your exercise, doing what you have to do in the morning to become something better than what you were? Or are you just gonna be watching other people's lives on Instagram, on TikTok when you wake up? What are you doing? What are we doing?
Right. Like, you have ultimately, this whole entire thing with social media is not really helping people. It's actually moving people farther apart, because a lot of people are trying to buy things on social media to impress people that they don't like, that don't support their values,
that don't know them,
and putting things out of their pocket to stop them from actually achieving their goals. Exactly. And people need to just be able to put the phone down and having this thing where they can have full control of their own life, because this scrolling and things is taken away where you don't have control. You're just getting this instant gratification with likes, people, celebrities. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to put your phone down and just go after something, whatever that might be. That might just be business. That might be able to just have peace. And that's important, because a lot of people don't have peace. People think that being bored is bad, but it's actually a good thing. We have so many people that are in survival mode in terms of trying to impress people and trying to live their life, but they don't just set time for themselves just to relax.
Or to be loved by somebody that, ultimately might not love you back, because you know why? You haven't put that work and that time into yourself. Therefore, their mind is going to be looking to the person that's doing something better than you. Again, if you put your time, your effort, your energy into yourself and keep on leveling up, let's just say she might see somebody that might be better than you at that time. She know you still growing. She know you still leveling up to the point where, why would I leave somebody that's leveling up? And that's how you got to live your life. You can't just be sitting playing video games all the time. You can't just be sitting on your social media all the time. And I know I'm yapping, but like, some things need to be said, because if you feel like I'm yapping, that just means that it's something that struck a nerve on you. You got to put your phone down.
It's facts. Like, that's so important, because you have to have an extreme level of discipline within your life to be able to have like that kind of factor within 2024.
And we not all perfect.
We're not all perfect.
Damn near not perfect, but it's something that we striving towards.
Right. You can always strive for, even if you strive for perfection, but you never reach it, you're always going to be better than where you were before. And that's the type of mindset that you can have in order to do things. Like you say, I'm not where I want to be in your life. If you're a young man coming out, you're just trying to do things in your life, focus on yourself. Just don't care about all the things on social media, all the different trends, all the things that don't really benefit you. But go and work on yourself, work on your mental health, work on your physical health, work on your relationships, build yourself a skill set, because ultimately that's what's going to help you later in your life. Okay. The women will come and go, the love will come and go. You can always build something later in life when you have values and provide value to other people. That's something you can always build up.
Okay. So oftentimes I feel like we don't, speak more so into ourselves. Like they might not know from, their perspective, their lives, what values they may need to have, or what worldly possessions that they hold on to, such as social media, such as video games, such as porn, such as girls, such as negativity. What things have you given up or worked on to limit the non-productive actions that you go on and do as a human?
One thing I definitely say for me that helps me being able to stay focused is being able to remember why I started, but also doing things that I know that will benefit me. Like, instead of me listening to music, I honestly get tired of listening to rap music nowadays, because all this music is detrimental to our communities. We're talking about killing, doing drugs, all these things. Like, understand it's an art form, but at the same, like, I give up music to an extent. I don't say I don't listen to it at all, but I minimize it, because the music that you have eventually turns into your thoughts, and your thoughts eventually turn into your action if you continue to think it. So if you're going to think about all this negativity and things, that's going to just negatively affect you, because that's negativity that you don't need. Instead of doing that, I listen to things that relax me, something that I'm passionate about. I might listen to 19 Keys, Earn Your Leisure, talking about investing, about financial literacy, about leadership skills, about mindset, about holistic body health in terms of how I can see different perspectives on things. I'm always open to building relationships with other people and things that are genuine. If it's not, I end that with someone that's not being genuine, and towards people that continue to build that, regardless as business, life, sports, anything. Okay. I don't care how much money you have or how much people like you. If you don't have that value or care for other people, then I'm not going to associate myself with you.
Exactly. And oftentimes it's like, you adding value to people who don't want it. It's like you wasting your time. You watching a commercial instead of living your own movie, instead of living your own truth. Really, I want to reword, why social media is bad. In a certain way, I feel like social media is you scrolling, watching someone else's life. Like, you give somebody else money by giving them views, by giving them, watch hours, per se. So instead of, allowing somebody to get rich off of your attention, or lack thereof of attention, you should just put that attention into yourself. Like, become your content creator, become somebody that's going to be a artist, a creative, a leader, a lover, a learner, somebody who's going to become something, instead of leading a life that would allow for you to follow and be dependent on social media, be dependent on somebody else making a post. And I remember in 2016, we was watching Corey Kitchen all day, but he didn't post and we didn't know what to do. And that's sad. That's sad, me saying this myself. That was sad, a sad time. But in reality, it goes to show how dependent we are on things that really shouldn't matter, on things that aren't going to benefit our lives. So I'm not saying, completely take it away, but like, you got to learn from your mistakes, and you got to limit it. Because I ain't going to limit video games my whole life. I ain't doing that. But I got to, put it to rest. So that's something I'm going to do for my school year. I'm going to leave my video game at home. But still, if I want it, I'll have the ability to grab it. I can, drive my hour and go back and get it. But it's like, I'm not allowing that video game to control me. So that's what I encourage for you all. Don't allow your negativity or distraction to fully take over what you can accomplish in this life, because you don't have too much time. You only got the time that you make of. And for me, losing years of my life on a PlayStation 5 that came out no more than 10 years ago.
Hey, just even if you're a young person watching this, just know you think you have so much time in your life, but you don't. Eventually, as soon as you know it, you're going to be 30, 40, 50 years old and wish that I could have did this. I could have did that. I wish I took the opportunity. Take every single opportunity today. As soon as you watch this video, go and do whatever you want to do, whether that's read the books, whether that's go and cook, or that's you going into the workout to the gym and get fit, bro. Go outside and go what you want and don't do anything else at what you're doing. Like, nah, he's not going to jump in. He's not going to jump in. We know it.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm going to send you a clip. I'm going to send you a clip of me actually doing it. I need you to edit that.
Hey, he's going to clip that up.
I'm telling you, we got y'all.
But
like Corey said, just go do it.
Right.
If you want to, jump in the lake.
Hey, put your life vest on. I'm not gonna go in and save you, cause hey, that water riff tough. But that is our first just motivational talk, starting up the episode. We got some topics, a lot of things happening within the community that we'd like to discuss in depth, and we love to give you guys this information. And we're gonna hit right to it, and we're gonna start. Let's put this part off. All right. So we're going to have this first conversation. We're going to talk about the presidential debate. Most of you all saw last week, we saw Trump versus Biden and the first presidential debate of the 2024 election. And ultimately, we have mixed feelings from both sides of the party. And you have people that are kind of disappointed at both candidates, regardless. And ultimately, for me, this shows, like, as people, we must know that it's still important for you to be able to vote and have your voices heard, because at the end of the day, if you don't vote, then your voice will not be heard and the system will continue to change, and it can affect your life. Many of you young people understands, okay, it's not affecting me, it's just two old people, but at the end of the day, it will affect your life, because the government is here in order for how we live our life, the taxes, the foods, the education system, labor system. All of those systems is very important, that we must know that even though that we have politicians, but we can't expect politicians to come and save us, because ultimately we must take some accountability as people of the system and create our own systems by basically we vote in people, but after we vote in people, we must hold these people accountable for actually creating change and vote out the people that are not making the system worse. So people, we want to do things regardless of political party. We must understand that you must be able to have a sense of community, have different perspectives, and not just being able to just, pick my side's right, my side's the only way or the highway. That's not how the political system works. It's supposed to work where multiple people might have different viewpoints, be open to listening to other people and hear their perspectives and make some sort of agreement so that we can make better change within our community, not just our own personal gain, but for people in general. Because ultimately we have a lot of people that might want to just make more money, they want to do better in business, or they want to help certain people, but we have to look from an overall perspective. I look not just at myself, but I look at the people that I can't even relate to, or people like I hear them and I try to listen in how we can make a better system for all, not just ourselves, not just the rich, not just the poor, not just the middle class, but for everyone.
Okay. So, the question is like non-biased answers only. What was your, thought process on the presidential debate? How did that sway you in any way?
So ultimately, this whole presidential debate, I feel like, does not represent the country as a whole, because we have a lot of young people of all ages that are amazing talents that just need to be heard. But we must continue to not just rely on these politicians, but rely on things within ourselves, because ultimately no one else is going to save you but yourself. So we need to be able to have that mindset that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make myself become successful. I'm going to do whatever it's going to take to help my family get out of our situation, whatever it's going to take within our mindset to shift our mindset, because ultimately we've been in a system where we feel like we need to be held up. But at the same time, us as people need to be able to bring ourselves together within our community, because we can't blame all of these things on politicians, on things like, of course, those are factors that is the reason why the black community is down. But ultimately, we as people need to come together and do better together, because there's a lot of negativity within ourselves, because I feel like us as people don't have a lack of identity, because we are people that came over here through slavery. We were brought from Africa over to the United States against our wills, had here in slavery.
Okay, that's right.
And we built up the United States over 400 years of free labor. And we're kind of put in perspective where the government has helped us in certain ways, but they really haven't helped us. There's still ways in the system that still suppress us as people. But us as...
It's built on the backs of slavery.
Right.
Okay.
And it's ultimately us as people are still living in survival mode. We're still living in a mindset of that we are just being free. But we were never free. They're trying to put us in a situation we think we're free, but we're not. We're not free until we over here own our own businesses. We own our own land. We own our own buildings. We continue to influence and have our own ownership. Because we still have a lot of people that don't own their own homes. We have a lot of people that don't invest in the stock market. We have a lot of people that don't work together in the community. We're still killing each other. We're still being negative towards each other. And I feel like we as people need to be able to put our pride and ego aside and kind of relearn what we know.
Okay, that's right.
Because it's kind of hard to change things if you can't change your own mindset. Like, you're trying to tell people to do right, but you're not doing right yourself.
And
so
oftentimes people really try to, start a couple levels ahead. And when it comes to what Corey just said, people oftentimes tell people what to do. They say, look, you shouldn't be doing this, or you should be doing that. But oftentimes you gotta, take some steps back and look towards yourself, the inner version of yourself, and tell yourself. Because oftentimes we find ourselves giving information that we don't even utilize, that we know is beneficial and we've seen it. But if you don't take your time to look inward and focus on yourself and add your values and your habits that will correspond to those values into yourself, you don't implement those, then how are you going to add to me? How are you going to add to somebody else that you're trying to, come across and that you meet? You won't. You can't. Because if you do that, that's like you starting, a couple of levels higher than, what you are credible to speak about.
Right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Right. So being able to understand that this whole entire system was against us at first and still is to an extent. And we as people just need to be unbrainwashed from all the information and continue to have our identity, because there are identities that we have that we just haven't discovered. We have people that do successful things within the community. Like, we have people that are in business, people that are inventors, people that are doctors, people that are people of influence within the community. But the media portrays us, especially as black men within this country. We've been over-incarcerated. We've been projected as people that might not be professional, people that aren't smart, people that aren't educated. But there are plenty of educated people, black males, black women, people of all races that are successful, but the media portrays people in a certain way. Now we have to look at the idea, like, the media is portraying us in a bad way so we can continue to fight against each other, continue to be detriments to our community.
Have a lack thereof of information, have a lack thereof of, opportunities, or think that we have a lack of opportunities and information, and doing so, that continues to keep us divided, that continues to keep us wanting to stay within our prideful ways that would, overall keep the community separated and not together, keep the communities fighting and not trying to collaborate in business or in life or in health or in wealth.
Right, because ultimately, if you have a lot of people doing things for themselves, of course you're not going to get out of a situation, because if you're making money but not pouring it back into your own community and uplifting other people, that's not going to do the community any help. So be able to collaborate and see other people, other successful people do those things, that collaborating with other people, being able to pass the information, transferring wealth down to generations, because ultimately that's what it is. Why are we fighting and killing each other over blocks that we don't even own? Think of that. We're fighting and killing each other over land and blocks that we don't even own. You're renting. Ultimately, that's not even worth it. And people on the other side, they look just like you. They come from a similar thing, similar place, similar city. Just a couple blocks over, they just might be we're all come through certain things. We have different traumas and things that we go through. But ultimately, we are same people from the same area. We just happen to just have kind of a not being open, not really having a lack of understanding of other people, lack of care, lack of self-worth, lack of basically just having these things. But I know it's hard, but we must be able to overcome that. And That's hurt us economically within the system because we recirculate the black dollar within the community for an average of 6 hours. And you see that's the lowest compared to any other race. And ultimately, there's people, a bunch of different races, ethnicities. But ultimately, in order for us to change, you must change our mindset. Because I was talking about mindset earlier, about investing, about culture and media. Culture and media wants to portray you to buy all these expensive things, expensive jewelry, expensive clothes, expensive cars, all these things to impress people that you don't know, and buy things that you can't afford that puts you in a deeper situation. The country's debt continues to go up each and every year because they know that you have more credit card debt. You don't own your house. The bank owns you. You'll always be a slave to the system and not be able to be free. You'll never be free considering going down that route. The only way we can be free is if we can own our own business, be our own mindset, and continue to pass it down to generation by generation. Don't think about the moment now. A pair of shoes and put that into the stock.
Okay.
Imagine how much that can do if you change that, shift that whole entire mindset.
And I want to say, imagine, what would happen if you decided to reach out to your elders. Let's just say you might not have somebody in your family that's making thousands or millions of dollars. You might be in a middle class family. You might be in a lower class family, but oftentimes you have the opportunities in networking events through social media to find these high-level individuals. And something that I would suggest is that you all find your way on LinkedIn. And these individuals, they want to find and communicate and network and collaborate with like-minded business owners, with like-minded students of the game who want to have internships. And I feel like if you take your time into understanding these older generations' perspectives, you have what it takes inside of you. From the youth to where you are now, you have that young adult perspective as well as the perspective of people who have lived this life longer than you. But it goes on to say that no matter where you are, no matter where you're going to go, if you take your time to learn from people that are above you, that are further in life than you, then you will have something going for yourself. You will have, more to work on than just what you have in your mindset right now. And that's something I feel like, can be important. And I want to, hear your perspective on this.
Yeah, specifically, what was your question again?
So the question being, in what way with you being a young adult, again, Corey's 20 years old, turning 21, September, around that time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in what way have you been able to see the growth in yourself as a 20-year-old by you speaking to older generations, older adults?
Yeah, so ultimately for myself as a young individual, I feel like it's important for us as a community to listen to all the elders within our community, because a lot of people have different experiences and that you can learn from, and people need to be more open, because you can't just be closed-minded, because they're people that live through things that you might have questions about. They have the answer that you need, and ultimately that you can learn that and apply to the new things that you learn to make a better future. Because
they apply to people that might come into your life to keep the information going around, so that we can, once you get that value, that information, you can probably use that to make money and circulate that dollar around our community.
Right, because ultimately there were times after the Civil War and after World War II, we owned our own businesses, we owned our own buildings, we basically, the whole entire system basically repeated itself in terms of bringing us back, in terms of over-incarcerating people instead of overly policing the community in order to put all these things intentionally, then put us down as people, to put us in the mindset of killing each other, all this negativity. All those things left the disconnect between the people that were old and young, because we had families, we had mothers, fathers, grandparents, uncles, cousins, all living together within the community. We cared about each other. You had people who lived next door that actually cared, like opened the door for people, doing things that's careless from yourself, like not caring just about yourself but others, like open the door for people, asking people how they're doing, cutting other people's lawns.
Parents that would spank other kids, other friends' kids, because they know when they stepped out of line, we are a pack. The adults were a pack. They were the leaders, and they took care of the kids. And if a kid stepped out of line, I had a permission to make sure that you are disciplined enough to understand that that's not how we want to portray ourselves. And this day and age is not there no more.
Right. Because that's some sort of accountability within ourselves. Because nowadays you see people that do things that are bad, but we don't want to be snitching, or we don't want to rat people out, or we fear for our lives or certain things, as people are scared to basically go up and basically tell the information and basically just let things happen. But we can't let that happen. If you want to be able to make change, we have to be able to make things happen.
And with us being comfortable letting things happen, you wonder what things we miss. We wonder what systems and structures within the Black community have we allowed to, be diminished because we let things happen. And it's not like the other races care. They want us to not be as close, as compact. They want us to be divided. Therefore, with us letting down our guard and allowing negative things to happen, that would be of benefit to other people. That would be of benefit to other races. And I know I've only been able to hear stories about, the Black community being at one of the peaks, with us taking accountability and taking control and really helping our own youth navigate through life instead of allowing and accepting things to happen. But we need to move back towards that era.
Right. Of course, learning things from the past into the future, like ultimately, what was I going to say? I lost my thought.
That's cool.
We were talking about different things from the past and moving forward, because ultimately we just need to bring that sense of community back within ourselves and caring for other people and having those sense of values and morality and all those things moving forward to help ourselves as a community. And we need to be able to promote growth, promote positivity, and uplift ourselves, because you promote all this information that's on negativity, rap, shooting, robbery, sexual activity that's not beef, when we need more people talking about business, talking about AI, talking about art, talking about changing the world. We need more change makers in this world. We don't need enough people we have enough people talking negative, talking about all these things, but we need more people to talk about things that can help benefit the community and have these real conversations, because we have this new innovation of AI technology, and that's where we'll be able to master that, then that will help be able to maybe uplift our people.
Okay.
But if we don't, we will continue to fall behind and diminish.
And like I said, it'd be a benefit to other races, other societies, other communities.
But
if us as Black people aren't united and aren't taking control of the information and the value that AI can give us.
Yes, but we have to also be able to understand that we can't just blame the race game, because ultimately we've had the race. We know that. We know it's racism. Racism is going to be here no matter what.
Okay. So how do we navigate against it and go around it? We
must change our mindset. We must be able to hold ourselves accountable. How are you going to talk about people being racist, but we killing our own people in our own community?
Okay.
We are robbing our own stores. We are beating our own kids. We're doing all these negative things, these traumas. We're just inflicting back to our own people for generations and generations. We have to be able to break those curses and basically change and restructure the way we think things.
Okay.
We need to be able to just have a better support system as a community and change our priorities, because priorities is one thing that can affect your whole entire lifestyle. That's what finance is. We have people that buy all these things, they do all these things that's not really productive and that's spending money, but at the end of the day, it's going to affect them financially and economically and everything. Though we just need to have better systems as people and continue to do that and give that back.
Okay.
Well, what would you say, from one of the topics that we were talking about, is one of the main issues within the community in terms of the information, having so we need to be able to have these high-level conversations within these things, normalize these conversations. We need to be able to talk about different ways that we can uplift being an entrepreneur. Think about being entrepreneurs, because it's ultimately one of our main focuses in entrepreneurship, in having that mindset of an entrepreneur instead of working a job. Like, it's okay to work a job, but at the same time, as people, we have plenty of jobs today in society. We have people that are plumbers. We don't have enough people doing the trades. Back in the day, everyone was working a trade. Whether you were a plumber, you were doing mechanics, electricians, like all of those things.
Okay.
And today we have people we feel like we're too good to have those jobs. But economically, that's why we're suffering. people from outside of our community are doing the jobs that we are not doing. And ultimately, we need to be able to put our pride inside it and do those jobs that they need to get done. They make good money. They can make six figures. They do all those things. But a lot of people don't have the idea. They want to get quick, instant gratification. They'd rather just go and try to get famous on social media or try to do these reckless things or scamming, doing drugs, doing all these other things.
And those trades, they give you access or leeway to make your own business. You can become a mechanic, and after being in the mechanic industry for so long, you have the systems and structures necessary to make your own business. But the difference is, if you're working at like retail or places like McDonald's, of course they do anything that they can to keep you there. You can't learn from McDonald's in a way that would allow for you to make your own restaurant.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can learn from the different systems. So of course, you can't learn if you have a regular worker mindset, but you can learn if you look at it from the system standpoint. McDonald's is not just a restaurant company. They are a real estate company. They own the real estate on top of the building that they do, and all the people rent basically the real estate for them to run their own business. And the main thing they have is consistency. All over their locations, they have different consistency between all the restaurants, from the cheeseburgers, from the fries, from the milkshakes. They're all the same from every location, and people would rather pay for something that's not necessarily the best, but it's something that can be consistent and that will show up each and every day, and it has some sort of feeling that you have when you have something like that. So if you're working your fast food job anywhere, you can learn the systems from the bottom, and that's what's going to help you learn to the top as you increase your mindset.
Thanks, bro, because I really didn't I didn't have it from that perspective. The way that I thought about it, oftentimes they have minorities together. They have people that are in the lower class and the middle class together, and they're keeping them there, feeding other minorities low value food, feeding them food that are toxic to the body. And the way that I saw it is that despite the fact that McDonald's has all this value, that if you have the right mindset, you can understand the systems and structures and become a better version of yourself to possibly make your own restaurant. Oftentimes I just feel like with McDonald's and different retail spots like that, it's like they're already so big, they're already like the biggest, the largest, and I feel like they try to keep you down, because why would I try to bring you up as McDonald's if I can keep you as a worker? And I don't feel like these type of jobs are fit to make you into a business owner. But I feel like when it comes to the trades, you can always make a business out of a trade because you have the skill set. You have the skill set as a McDonald's worker to know how to flip burgers, to flip patties. But as a mechanic, you know how to fix a car, you know how to fix an engine, you know how to fix the radio. You can break it down and build it back up, and you make your own vision come into reality as somebody who's a mechanic or an engineer. But it's different. That's the perspective that I came into this conversation with.
Right. Ultimately, of course, you have to look at it from a different mindset. Just learning from it, because there's a different thing from being a consumer and being a creator. You have to be able to think that when you work a regular job, you're relying on the job to basically provide for you. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're using your own mindset to make you have control of your life and be able to be free.
And even in some cases, even if you're not the entrepreneur, like we said, when it comes to a trade, you have the skills and the mindset to become one. So having those businesses or those jobs, or working in those businesses or those jobs that aren't allowing you to grow within yourself, that's cool. But I feel like by utilizing that money to learn about investments and assets, that would be your best way to go about it. If you're not working a career or a job that will allow you to have a mindset like mechanics, to become something and make therefore a business that would allow for you to grow and show your vision in the world.
Right. Ultimately, you just have to be able to hear perspectives. Like every single job has an opportunity for it. You have to be able to utilize the skill set you learn from that to apply it to your life. Like you learn how to, when you were at McDonald's, you learn how all the systems work, of course.
Okay.
But in order for you to reach that next level, you have to be able to change your mindset. Like I said, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be able to think for yourself, be able to have to create for yourself, have that scarcity mindset that if I don't get this sale or I don't get this thing, my life will not be living the way I want to. I need to get paid the bills, because you don't have a job to come back to. You have to do that yourself. You get the sale or you are not going to eat if you don't do anything. So you have to be able to have that person that's go advance and go out there and create your own opportunities, not waiting for opportunities, because we have a lot of people that wait for opportunities, but they never come. They're always trying to get. but they don't want to be able to they don't want to go out there and get it themselves. We need a lot more people to do that within your own life. Like, why are you waiting for someone else to come up and help you? Pull yourself up and go from your own mindset. Not saying accepting not help from other people, but put yourself in that. You put your life in your hands and not anyone else.
That's right.
Like, we have to be able to change the mindset of what we're doing, because as things get higher, inflation gets higher, the cost of living gets higher, everything is getting more expensive within society. Right.
It's just going to lead to more division within the community. It's just going to lead to more, or the lack thereof, of education, because if we are, divided as an educational system, or as a labor force, or as a, housing system, if we're more divided, they can always up the prices. They can always make it in their image because they have more so of the power. And that would allow for us to not have the opportunities necessary to continue on moving forward from where we're at this point.
Right. Just being able to understand that the system is not going to save you. You have to be able to go and create the opportunity, and understanding that if you want to be able to build true wealth, you have to build that throughout your mindset. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You have all these NFL players, NBA players that make millions of dollars, but 70% of these NFL players are broke after ending their career. It's because they have a lack of financial literacy. And that means that you have to be able to have that mindset, because there's certain people all these people that are millionaires and billionaires that build over a sustainable amount of times, they have the mindset that allows them to become millionaires. You can't make $1 million, but if a $100,000 mindset, you're always going to be at $100,000 regardless. You might have it for a little bit, but you're going to go right back down because of your habits and the things that help you get to that where you at. Mm-hmm. So in order for you might be at 6 figures now, but if you have a 7-figure mindset, you'll eventually get there, because you have the mindset that's nothing that you can't lose. You can always gain and lose money, but your mindset is something that's always going to stick with you.
Yes.
And that's why you must be able to do that regardless of the situation. The people that have that millionaire, billionaire mindset, regardless if they have to start all over, they'll still make that thing again because they have the mindset to gain it back.
Knowledge. And again, I love that, the knowledge and the mindset to retain what you already have, because like right now, based on where we're at right now, both middle class or upper middle class for you, probably. Middle, yeah. Both middle. It's based on our mindset. And I'm not going to go and say it's because of the system or structure that kept me down. No, I'm going to say it's because of the fact that I decided to let distractions rule me and keep me at the place in where I'm at. And that's based on me. Look, at this point and at this time, if you allow yourself to look towards your values and you see, my value is family. My value is integrity. These are your values. Why am I going to work a job that would allow for me to work 9 to 5 and not be able to spend my time with my family? Why am I going to, go outside and gangbang or do something negative? Because at the end of the day, if something happens wrong to me, that's going to affect my family. So therefore, I need to adapt habits that are like, let's just say for family, adapt habits like probably calling your family, making sure they're okay, making a relationship with those individuals that you feel like you call your family. And by having values like family and integrity, and then having habits that continue on feeding those values that you have, that would allow for you to build the mindset. And, in doing so and building that mindset, like Corey said, then you will attain the 7-figure mindset. You will attain more success, and you won't have to say that a system or a structure within the government or the community kept me from making something of myself, because at the end of the day, it is something that is in your control, and it's up to you whether or not you gonna find yourself in this bed watching us on this camera, or you gonna get up and set up your own camera or anything and find a way to present your message to the community, because it's something that you've decided to value as a young adult, as a young woman, as a young man in this community, wanting to educate, motivate, and inspire young adults and other people that you come across to see your vision and to aspire to show others their vision that they have had within themselves.
Right. That's so important, being able to have that self-worth within yourself, because a lot of people think, oh no, I'm not that good. No, you are good. You are amazing. Everyone else has their own special gift that you just be able to, you might not discover it yet, or you just might not have the correct support system, or you haven't went out there and tried it enough to be able to reach wherever that passion is.
But hold on. I feel like we need to take a I'm wealthy, I'm legendary, I'm free affirmation break, because I feel like we speaking a lot on values and morals, but you must value yourself. So let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3. I am wealthy. I am legendary. I am free. We're gonna say it again. I am wealthy. I am legendary. I am free. Finally. I am wealthy, I am legendary, I am free. You have the opportunity to choose whether or not you're going to believe in it, or you just going to say it just to say it. Look, at the end of the day, if it came out your mouth, it's energy corresponding with that. So I would rather you say it timid. Say something positive to yourself in a timid manner rather than saying something negative. Because you're going to say it timidly, but you're going to build on top of the I'm positive. You're going to build on top of the positive. You're going to begin saying I'm wealthy, I'm legendary, I'm free, until you continuously say it, you continuously think it. Is in your mind, it's in your body, it's in your spirit, and then it's going to be I am wealthy, I am legendary, I'm free, and you're going to be living by that truth so much that you're going to be psyched, you're going to be psychologically unable to say that I am not, unable to say that I am broke, unable to say that I am a follower. You're not going to be able to say it, and therefore you're not going to be able to live by it. You're going to attain those values, you're going to attain those morals to become wealthy, legendary, and free. And you will teach me, you will teach Corey,